Brand New Zeros, we'll get to the name in a minute of how we come up with that. It was in a bar in
Belgium.
And someone misheard something. But it was the four of us that got together, so it was me, you, Carlton and
Ender, yeah.
And the four of us were together, all different genres of music, but we all linked in grunge somewhere or other.
Yeah.
Whatever. But then it was the first album, even looking back to it now, probably if we recorded it would sound different, but at that time it sounded like that. But it was the album that we always wanted to make.
Yeah, I think
So we wanted to sound similar because you've gone off and you've been a professional musician for your whole life and done bits and pieces and sometimes your own stuff or lots of covers or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been a barber.
Well, myself and Ender and Carlton were all in a band called the Bible Code Sundays, which is an Irish rock sort of covers band, Irish rock crossover band, doing covers as well as original material, kind of like sort of poguesy sort of stuff really, and with accordion and fiddle and stuff. So we kind of come from that. But Ender had been in rock bands when he was a teenager, same as we'd all been. We all had a mutual love of Pearl Jam, and that kind of we'd all been grunge heads back in the day in our teens. Apart from Carlton, was a bit older than us, but he was in Bad Manners and things like that, and he was a big Thin Lizzy fan, which Ender was too, and there was a lot of crossover. But we ended up, because we did it mostly acoustic, didn't we, the first album, and then we kind of recorded it. Yeah. That album was mainly, it was recorded in like 3 days.
It's mainly in electric. Well, I didn't play electric.
There was a couple of electric songs in it, but not much. Yeah, we didn't own one.
I didn't own one.
It was quite a shame because they had them there. We could just pick up their ones.
Yeah, just picked up theirs,
But yeah, it was mostly acoustic, wasn't it, the first album? Then the second one, we made a conscious decision we were going to electrify the whole thing.
Go a bit more.
So you were going to go electric, and even I was going to go electric, which I wasn't that comfortable on. But that's how we started it.
It just ended up being, because this album now sounds completely different.
Well,
it's just
and now we got
for the first one.
And then we got in Slev, who had played a little piano break on the first album. Actually, he's on the first Band Zero album.
He did on our.
So James Slevin on Bullet in Your Heart.
Bullet in Your Heart. Yeah, which we've actually got a video for. You can check that out. Punch and Judy.
But Punch and Judy, yeah, that was wicked.
Punch and Judy.
That was great. That was so good. I went to somewhere near Reading, and this couple that I know who are professional clowns, and they do Punch and Judy.
A few of them,
some of them are running our country right now.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so these guys, they lived on a houseboat in near Reading, and he just said, "Come over to our place," and would because I knew they had a Punch and Judy set up. So I had this idea of, because it's a bit of a Bullet in Your Heart. It's a bit kind of like tongue in cheek. Violent relationship, but not really. It's like mentally, it's about
like domestic violence.
But it's not. It's about that idea that when you break up with someone, that you're trying to hate them, but you still love them, and this idea that you sort of in your mind is like, I want to kill her, but you don't actually. You really love her. And so it's the idea that the reason why it's Punch and Judy, because it was meant to be kind of that sort of fake.
Yeah,
faux
non-reality.
It was not actual violence.
Not actual violence.
It's just in your mind. You just don't like that.
Marvel violence.
Pretend you don't like them when you actually love them, and that's kind of how the song explores that. It goes from I want to shoot you, I want to kill you, and then it's like I actually want to be with you. And the last verse is actually the truth is you shot me, you killed me. That's the truth of what happened, and it sort of goes through that phase of realizing that actually you're the one that got done.
Yeah.
But that's why I wanted to use the Punch and Judy thing as a bit of a. It's a sort of a. So yeah, that was a funny day. Just operating Punch and Judy.
Because you make a cameo appearance, don't you?
I do. It's mostly
you just point to this drunken Punch and Judy thing.
So the punch goes off on one. He ends up drunk in the gutter and he shits himself. Really unnecessary. It's really unnecessary detail. You see some water just sort of flow from his trousers, and you realise he's pissed himself and he's drunk in the gutter.
Whose idea was that?
Mine, obviously. I'm that childish.
Yeah.
And then then she shoots him, and it's like, but there's fake guns that says bang on it. She shoots at the end. But it's it's that. But he played. Slev played. How have we got onto that? Slev played piano on that, so he's actually played a bit of bass and piano on this album, and Joe, who's a new drummer from the Bible Code Sundays that replaced Carlton, and then a guy called Connor Mangan, who's a friend of Slev's, who's brilliant all-round musician, plays a bit of guitar, well, not plays everything, plays guitar, bass, woodwind instruments, and all that. One of those guys you hate that can play everything. One of those guys. So he's come in and playing. He's on bass, and actually, Love If You Let Me, the bass line in the verse is just immense, and that's Slev playing that, and it brought it it just knocked it up another level. That it's like it's a Blur-esque kind of bass line that comes in,
and then there's another song,
driving.
Angels and Guns, which you might hear at another point. There's like three notes at the beginning of that song, which then literally dictate the whole mood of that song from then on.
So it goes
literally three notes, and it's just, and that song literally takes off because it goes into a chorus so often.
And that was good because there's all the songs just took a new life when the band came in, and then we've got Dave Kenny playing drums with us. He's not on any of the recordings. He's playing live with us right now as a friend of ours from the London music scene. So he sort of stepped in and smashing it on the drums. So it's great. And that's the new brand new Zeros.
Also a collection of, there's lots of us, isn't there? Sorry.
Well, we've got my brother Rory, who's kind of come out of retirement for the seventh time in his life, more like Elvis Presley. But it's more comebacks. Yeah, so he's come back and he's playing a lot more music. We're doing a lot more covers gigs and stuff together, and he's sort of like a floating member of the band now, as he coming in doing stuff whenever. But the idea is that it's kind of me and you, and we're trying to keep it tight as that, so it's not a big band, is it really? The guys are coming in and they're
just trying to get a big band to stay, you know.
Well, it's hard to ask people to commit,
especially when most of the people that are involved in it either have other day jobs, as we do, or they're professional musicians that have other stuff that pays them. To actually stay on constant call for original music. Original music is
quite
so
a big ask.
No one wants to hear it unless you're a big star. No one's really, that kind of scene doesn't really exist.
Yeah, it's tough.
Well, it is. Don't get me wrong.
No,
find a pub and say, can we come and do an originals night or whatever. Most of them.
It's a set scene, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, the idea is we'll be doing more and more stuff this year. We did a gig at the end of last year in Dublin Castle. It was a fretsaw kind of thing with Philip Rambo and that, and Jack Henderson, who's also on the label. And we did an afternoon gig on a Sunday. It was great. It was wicked. And that was our first and only so far full band new Brand New Zeros lineup gig we've done. And it did a half-hour set, and it sounded great to hear. Because some of those songs we've never done live. We've just done them in the studio.
No.
And because they were recorded over the course of, some things were recorded nearly 3 years ago, and some things were recorded this year, just a few months ago. So it was a job in itself to try and pull all that together. In fairness to the guys in the studios that we used 3 studios in total over the course of the time. So to make that make sense as an album was a challenge in itself, and the guys did a great job.
So the album's out in somewhere around summer.
May, I think.
We'll see.
It's not our decision.
So anyway, on our IGTV now, you'll see more of this, where we'll go through all the songs we've done and some other previous ones. We're going to play on the next video you'll see in a minute. You're going to see an acoustic version of If You Let Me, which we might put out at a time with the single. I don't know. We might give you a bit of a snippet. We'll do that, and then we're going to talk through the rest of the album. So anyway, that's our first ITV. So thank you very much.
Thank you.